Hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Manchal Kalra and I am an EFT Tapping Coach. And today here on the channel with me, I have a very special guest who I'm so grateful for. And join me in welcoming her. Her name is Phalguni and she was a client of mine. We did about 6 tapping sessions together, EFT tapping sessions together. And it's been a beautiful journey just witnessing her healing and transformation. And today she has honored my invitation and she's here to share her story of healing and transformation with you. And her story is extremely inspiring. And I hope that in the audience, everyone who's watching really benefits and is inspired by her story. And she has really been able to overcome a very troublesome and difficult past. And today she stands strong as this strong, independent, resilient woman who has really transformed, committed to doing her inner work, which has not been easy, but her story is a testament to the strength that you can have and really change your life, shift your identity, and it just your past doesn't have to equal your future. And her story is a testament to that. So I'm grateful to her for accepting this invitation. So thank you for being here, Phalguni. Welcome to this interview. And I'd love for you to just introduce yourself and just share with the audience what your story, your background, and what it was that led you to start your healing journey, and how was your life before you started doing this healing journey?
Hi, Manchal. Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here, and I feel really happy that you thought of me and you wanted to have me on your channel. I'm so proud that you've started your journey on YouTube, and it just means that you're more accessible to people. And it demystifies any questions people have about like EFT and what it stands for. As far as a little bit about me goes, I had a rough couple of years. I would say actually rough 3-4 years. I would say the last 3-4 years have been pretty difficult. And I was at the time doing traditional talk therapy, and while that was good and it helped a lot in many different ways, I came across Nikki through a common friend. I reached out to her for not something that was unrelated to EFT, but eventually we kind of got talking about that, and she asked me if I would be interested. And even though I wasn't quite certain what EFT was at the time, I was like, you know what? I was so far gone in terms of like just feeling, just wanting to change my present and my past so badly that I was willing to try anything different, anything new, even if it, at this time, like, sounded woo-woo. I'm like, you know what? F it, I'm just gonna go ahead and like give this a shot. What do I have to lose? Nothing, you know. So that's kind of where I kind of joined Manchal. And yeah, I used to work in social media before. That's my background, but I was a social media manager and strategist. But currently, I am exploring art, and I have been doing that, and it's been really helpful, in my healing journey. And EFT has been incredibly helpful because at the time I was doing talk therapy, and it was helping, but not quite enough. I felt like I needed to play a more conscious role in my own healing, and EFT allowed me to do that by understanding myself better, by taking accountability for um, what I was doing in my healing journey, right? Like the part that I needed to play, I needed to show up for myself. And I feel like
Yeah.
EFT helped me go beyond that. But yeah, that's a little bit about me. I hope I didn't ramble too much.
No, absolutely not. Thank you so much for sharing. Your story really is inspiring. I will leave it to you to share with our audience as much or as little as you like.
Hmm.
I have personally witnessed your growth, your commitment to your inner work, and that transformation that I see in you is just phenomenal from when we first met. I think it was in March 2022, when you reached out to me for French. And then I just told you that I've
Hmm.
transitioned and I don't do French anymore. And now I'm in the healing arts because of my own journey and how
Hmm.
EFT changed my life. So I'm just glad that you decided to try it with an open mind, and it's really an honor to witness your journey. So, in this interview, I just had a few questions to ask you to share with our audience your journey. So, I'm
Hmm.
just going to refer to them and ask you at different points.
Yeah.
And I know how art has really helped you on your journey, and you're a beautiful, like, such a great artist. I'm actually going to put your
Thank you.
Instagram handle on the YouTube description for anyone who'd like to
Hmm.
reach out to you, because I really love your art and it really is so transformative in healing. It's like a creative expression space to express yourself, and love those paintings and creative
Thank
sketches and
you.
artwork that you do. So, so the first thing that I wanted to ask you is, for everyone who's watching, like, when did you realize or really feel that you needed to seek professional help for your mental and emotional well-being? Like, where did that, yeah, where did EFT come on that journey, and when did you realize that you needed professional help and seek someone out for your healing?
Like I mentioned, I was doing talk therapy. I've been doing it since 2017, on and off. I was out of the country for a couple of years, so during that period, not so much. But when I came back to India in 2021, I resumed my talk therapy on a more regular basis. And it only seemed natural to me because I had studied psychology in college, so I thought it made sense. Therapy didn't, I never, it didn't have that much of a stigma for me as it
Yeah.
has for some other people. I found it easier to talk about. But as far as alternate therapies were concerned, I'd never tried anything, and I was a very big skeptic in
Yeah.
general. I didn't have too much belief in myself. I didn't have too much belief in the universe. I was pretty agnostic as far as my religious views were concerned. And EFT came into my life in such a wonderful way at a time when I needed it the most. It's almost like um, Manchal just came into my life at the time that I needed it the most. Even though I reached out to her for French, we ended up going on this journey with EFT, which has been quite frankly completely transformative to my healing and the way I think about life and how I think about myself, really. So I can easily say that, I love myself now compared to how I felt about myself before. So thank you, Manchal, for helping me get on that journey. It's difficult some days to continue to do that, but you've given me really great coping strategies and mechanisms to kind of, help center me. And every time I feel like, I'm being tossed by this ocean, um, that we call life. Um,
Yeah.
a lot of the stuff that you've talked to me about has helped me really kind of recenter myself and tell myself that it's going to be okay, and allow myself to kind of renew my faith in myself and in life and the universe and other people as well, because for every terrible thing that's happened to you, there are 1,000 people that you'll meet mysteriously sometimes, who come into your life at the right time for the right reasons. So it's just given me a lot of hope and faith. Sorry, did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you so much. Actually, I was just reflecting on how when we first met, you, like you shared just now, that you just didn't believe in the universe. You even mentioned somewhere that you thought the universe was against you and that you were caught in this, the situation. And then now suddenly to always hear you saying how much faith you have in the universe, how supported you feel by extra, like realms, right? Unseen realms,
Mm-hmm.
basically, and the unknown, and all of these like miraculous things that aren't a part of everyday life, that people are just like, oh, that doesn't exist. But I
Yeah.
see that for you, and it's beautiful to see you just feeling that support within yourself and from the universe, and keeping that faith, which isn't easy, but it's a powerful emotion. So thank you for
Mm-hmm.
sharing that. Um, so yeah, I also wanted to ask you. So in you mentioned that you were doing talk therapy for a long time, and you also mentioned in your feedback form, I remember, and the transformation tracker, which I shared with you, which I do with every client, where
Mm-hmm.
we track your mindset shifts, your spiritual gifts that you received as downloads from the session, as well as the new
Mm-hmm.
habits that you're forming to really change your persona to become the person that you want to be. What specific ways did you feel that EFT was very different from just traditional talk therapy, where you meet the psychologist, psychotherapist, and you're just speaking about your issues? How do you feel that's different for somebody who's never tried EFT before, who doesn't know and thinks it's like just a woo-woo technique, or a new
Mm-hmm.
healing modality, which
Mm-hmm.
is it's actually based in neuroscience and there's evidence-based studies, but since it's
Mm-hmm.
still new for people, how would you explain that difference, since you've done both of them now, both the
Mm-hmm.
modalities?
That's a great question. So, with talk therapy, I found that, and this doesn't have to be everybody else's journey, but my journey with talk therapy is that I went in for a session, I felt like I got whatever was off my chest, and then sometimes the processing would happen like post the therapy session, and I'd feel like I have so much more to say or so much more to like add. And sometimes I feel like I would never get to the crux of the situation either. And that was it was good, but I felt like I was missing something. It always felt like there was something more that could be done or should be done. So I was, I think, in a sense, looking for something more. I didn't feel completely satisfied with talk therapy, because all I was doing was letting out my emotions, and that's really, really important.
Of
But
course.
for me personally, I needed more. And when Manchal talked to me about EFT, and like she talked to me about how um, important it can be in kind of transforming the way you think about life, about yourself, how you can find, create, not even find, sorry, create new neural pathways. I was really intrigued by that because, I was at a point where I needed, like, I had two paths. I could keep doing the same stuff I'd done before, or I could go down this other unknown, uncertain path and really try something that I'd never tried before, putting my full faith in it, knowing that, I have a huge part to play in it, apart from like the Manchal, who was my practitioner and who was helping me through the EFT. I felt like I would be taking a more conscious role, and playing a more conscious part in my own like healing journey, that it's not just me talking, but I would have to be backed up with me doing certain like techniques or like certain exercises that Manchal was giving me after each session. Sometimes we did it during the session. Sometimes it would be work given to me after the session. And Manchal was very, very empathetic with me throughout the process. You were really, really empathetic with me throughout the process. And I don't know why I switched from like talking about you to talking to you, but talking at you. But yeah, anyway, that aside, you were very present with me. That's what I remember during the session. Even though we hadn't actually met in person, we'd only spoken over the phone and we'd seen each other on Zoom. I felt immediately like I could open up to you. I could be vulnerable around you. You held that space for me, and I'll forever be grateful and for you doing that for me, because it's I had not felt safe like that in a long time. So it felt really important for me to feel heard. And you did that for me. And also, you made me feel seen, which also I think I was looking for a lot. And so that was really transformative for me. And we did a lot of exercises within our sessions. But what I really appreciate is post the exercises, you would reach out to me and ask me how I was doing on a regular basis in between sessions. You would like drop me little like voice notes on like different things I could try out as and when you had the idea that came to your head, like when you thought of a new thing that I could try, you'd always like, and without putting too much pressure on me, because I was at a point in my life where I could only take a few things at a time in terms of like executing things or even like doing the exercises that Manchal had given me. Like yeah, so it just was like you really held a lot of space for me, and you were very patient with me. And yeah, it was, I really appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. I'm really grateful to have gone on that journey with you. And I do remember that at one point you did share it's too overwhelming, the self work that I was giving you, the exercises,
Yeah,
because healing is not linear. It's something we've talked about a lot of times, but
yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's also something where you feel like you're regressing back and oh my God,
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to change my thought, limiting thought, emotional patterns, but suddenly I go back and I'm in that same situation. How do I regulate myself? So I remember that when you shared that with me, and it was a mutual thing where we decided we would just do it slowly as per your pace, your comfort, as much as you were ready to do. And
Mm-hmm.
genuinely, like, I work with a lot of people, but I saw that like literally everything I put in your session tracker, you would update me like, I've done this exercise, I've done, and I even did that subconscious reprogramming exercise, and you were like, I didn't miss a single day. And I was like, okay, wow, that is real serious commitment. And it's a lot about the inner work as well. I mean, there's only so much that another person can help you through. So I really, I'm
Mm-hmm.
inspired by that, how much work you've put in put in yourself, showing up for yourself, not easy, having that courage, that resilience, and which has got you to where you are today. And as even today, I see you continuing to do that inner work to just, I even remember you said these words and I was like, wow, that just resonates. Like, I'm so committed to my healing and evolution, because I say that a lot, and it's literally like you and I speaking the same language, and I see that in you. So thank you for sharing that. So I'm just referring to the things that I wanted to ask you, and so the next thing that what I wanted you to share with people was, how do you think, how would you explain that EFT helps release trauma on a deep level? Because when we go back into past memories, subconscious layers that we open up, how do you think that plays out? What role does EFT carry in really healing past memories, and why do you think it's important to even heal these past memories that were painful or adverse challenges that we all go through in life? Why is it important to release these memories, or
Mm-hmm.
not the memories, rather the emotional charge from the
Mm-hmm.
memories?
Mm-hmm.
What would you tell people? Why is it important, and how does EFT play a role in that to release those traumatic memories?
Sure. Um, so how it's helped me particularly is what I found really useful is before I had a session with you, you would send me a questionnaire to fill 24 hours before our session. And I'd have to base whatever I was feeling, maybe, my most recent emotions off of that. Um,
Mhm.
and fill the questionnaire based off of that, which I think was really helpful because it's not like you're dealing with what you're feeling currently.
Yeah.
So and sometimes you might, and that emotion sometimes could be a feeling that you're reliving from 20 years ago. It could be something from like a fight you had 5 minutes ago, before you fill out this. So I think that's really important because it allows you to kind of stay in touch with where you're at and what you're feeling in that moment. And then it allows you to tap into that and kind of peel back the layers in a sense, to figure out why you're feeling that way. If you have to go back a few more layers to figure out when did you feel that way last, what was your earliest memory. And the way you've crafted that question, Nikki, is Manchal, is really really insightful because it helps you kind of go further and further back as far as you can remember, to kind of figure out where this issue kind of what the root cause of this issue was, or when it cropped up first for you. So that's been really helpful with um, EFT for me. And so that helped me kind of understand myself better, because I had a lot of baggage that I was carrying, as do most of us, with kind of the ancestral wounds and the ancestral trauma that we're carrying, or generational trauma that we're carrying, from our parents, grandparents, whoever, or other people that have kind of entered our life and, caused some form of trauma or the other. So it helped me kind of really look back and try and figure out why I was the way I was, what my negative thought patterns were, what my self-limiting beliefs were. I was able to kind of uh, figure out when that even became a
Yeah.
problem for me, right? Like we're not born like skeptics, but I
Yeah.
was a highly skeptical person. And like, my big line was, oh, the universe has it out for me. The universe is against me. The universe is shitting on me, whatever, right? Like, and I needed to kind of go back and ask myself, why am I saying these to myself? And when did it even start? Can I look at a point in my childhood or my life where there's some trauma associated to it, or was it a person associated to the way I felt about this whole thing, about the universe having it out for me? And EFT it really helped me kind of gain insight into that. And also in the sessions itself, I would have to talk about it, and sometimes reliving that emotion is really hard. And a lot of us, I think, myself included, we tend to run away from some of our really big emotions. Um, we tend to be great escape artists when things feel really heavy and difficult. And so sometimes it feels kind of counterintuitive to like bring up that emotion in a session, and it feels like you're re-traumatizing yourself like it may feel like that. Certainly my first session did feel like that, because, and that's to be expected, because I was talking about stuff that was incredibly difficult. I was being very vulnerable. And so it does feel like you're, in a sense, reliving the entire situation again. But by the end of the session, and with all the tapping that we do, with all the affirmations that we do, the kind of exercises that you've talked about during the session, you feel, or at least I felt, that like that emotion was being drained out of me. Like I was filled up with it in the beginning, and it felt like I was being drained out of it. So, like, it was being drained out of me at the end of the session. So I felt like, I don't know, there was, even in that, like, did we do a 90-minute session?
Each session was 90 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, so 90-minute session. Yeah, so in that 90-minute session, it's intense, it's painful, it's um it's harrowing, but at the same time, it's extremely liberating. It feels great to be able to talk about something that's extremely difficult to someone who's very empathetic, and who sees you, who understands you, who validates you. And at the end of the day, it's extremely liberating, because you feel like you've said all these things that you've held on to so tightly for so many years, and you can stop believing that now. And you can work on stop believing that now. You can, with your help, of course. I can't do I could never do this by myself if it weren't for you. And your encouragement, you were really encouraging throughout the entire process, even on days where I didn't want to do it, on days when things felt really hard and I was like, I can't take on so many things. It'd be like, it's okay, just do one of the four exercises we've talked about, or two of the four exercises. And it just made it so much easier for me to process and kind of work through that. But yeah, it's been really helpful, and it's very different from talk therapy, because I'm actively taking a part in my own transformation. Manchal is not out here like, doing any like magic tricks or anything like that. Like, you're helping me through it. You're giving me tools that I can use to help myself. And if I'm not ready to help myself, no one can help me, right? So I
Absolutely.
think the first step for anyone who wants to try EFT is to really be open to it, because I think if I wasn't open to it and I'd done even one session with you, I don't think I would have continued. I think I was in a place where I was desperate to like get better. And I was desperate to, just take charge of my own healing. I'm like, okay, enough. I can't, no one's coming to rescue you. Only you can rescue yourself. You have to be your own knight in shining armor. So,
Absolutely.
so don't wait for anybody. Just kind of take charge of your own life. Because if you're not going to do it now, when are you going to do it? And if it's not you, who else is going to do it? Is really what I have to say about
Yeah.
that. But
Yeah, just to add to that, just exactly what you said, the EFT really helps us take that radical self responsibility to become, when we're in that victim mind state and consciousness, like, why me? Why did this happen? Why am I stuck in this situation? How come I am always attracting these negative patterns repeatedly and the same experiences? And why is my life not getting better? Why am I feeling stuck? I feel like even for me, it was so transformative that I started to become conscious and aware of my limiting thought patterns. And the same when I witnessed that with you, that the victim consciousness really, you're able to release that and say, I am the creator, I take responsibility. And like you said so beautifully, no one that doesn't want to be helped can be helped, right? It is your own. And that's why I keep reiterating how committed you were. You were like, I want to do this, I'm going to do it. I want to be in a better space in my head, emotionally, in my heart, and take my life
Mhm.
forward. I don't want to be stuck because of what happened with me in the past. And to touch upon what you also shared about the emotional charge, like re-traumatizing, we've talked about that in many sessions because we revisited some memories that came up from the past, which, like you rightly said, a lot of us just want to forget that ever happened. And of course, we will not be able to forget, but what can happen is that we can release the emotional charge. So when you look back into that same memory, at least you are not going to be crying, you're not going to be shriveling up, shrinking up. Your body, that body that holds on to the trauma, is just released, and you feel
Mhm.
that expansiveness. And like you said rightly, also the liberation and that freedom, because you're like, yes, I can look back at that memory, know that it happened with me. It wasn't easy to go through that, but now I know that it was something that happened. I accept it and bring in all of that love and compassion to that struggle, empathy to that struggle. And to also add upon what you said about the questionnaire, that questionnaire is not designed by me. I wish I was. It was. It's actually by my mentor Jennifer Partridge. You know that I trained with her and certified with
Mhm.
her. So she's a master EFT practitioner, and she's also a teacher at Mind Valley. So she's the one who's designed that questionnaire, and all of us who graduated from her course use that exact same questionnaire with our clients. But it's designed so beautifully that it helps you. It takes you on a journey where you release what's happening in the
Mhm.
present moment, as well as go back into the past and see, like you said, the root cause. Where is this limiting behavioral emotional pattern coming from? And yeah, just and just for the audience to know, when sometimes she refers to me as Nikki, it's because she reached out to me through a common friend, and that's my nickname. So that's what I am called. But professionally and officially, my name is Manchal. So it's just something that I wanted the audience to know, because a lot of times that it comes up, a lot of people refer to me as Nikki even now. So, so just yeah, to go on to the next question, I wanted to
Mhm.
know that could you also talk about, if you feel comfortable, if you want to share, if there's any emotional pattern, behavioral pattern that you've been able to transform with the EFT sessions, or is it only just, would you recommend EFT only to someone who has deep-rooted traumas or memories, or just any kind of limiting thought, emotional, behavioral pattern that they have? What would you say about that?
I'd 100% recommend it to anybody, like, and you don't have to have had trauma in your life for you to, like, learn how to use EFT to help you. Um, I think most of us, we, I think by the time we're socialized and by the time we're in school, college, whatever, we develop certain limiting beliefs about ourselves.
Mm,
And this could be how successful you're going to be, how whether you're going to find the right kind of partner for yourself, whether you're good enough. It could be several things, or it could be one of these, or like all of them.
mm,
But honestly, anyone can like benefit from EFT. For me personally, I've kind of tackled so many limiting beliefs that I had, that I wasn't enough, that I wasn't worthy, um, And just like I said, that the universe had it out for me. I had all of these limiting beliefs from my childhood, from the people that I met who sometimes told me who I was even before I could figure out who I was, you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes people will project onto you, and
Yeah.
sometimes they will tell you who they think you are because they've assumed something off of you because from either because they're projecting and they don't know how to deal with their emotions,
Yeah.
or they see something and it reminds them of somebody else and they attribute that to you. But that's not true. And I think we're changing and evolving as people with each decade that comes by, and you always have the power to change who you are. You have the power to write your own story. There's this
Love that. I
there's
love
this
that.
Oh, thank you. There's this line from the movie Gully Boy that really resonated with me, which I'm going to absolutely butcher, so please be kind to me. I'm not the greatest Hindi speaker ever, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to get the line right, but I have the essence kind of stored in my mind. But the protagonist in the movie is having a conversation with, I believe his father, and his father says, "You can't do that. This is all you can do," or something like that. And he says, uh, "किसी और मुझे बताएगा, कोई और मुझे बताएगा मैं कौन हूँ," like something to that effect, which is like, I am I gonna let somebody else define who I am? Are
Yeah.
you gonna tell me who I am as a person and what I'm capable of and what I can do? And that somehow, even though I've seen the movie only once, it somehow like stuck with me, that line. And I'm like, that's true. Why would I ever let anybody else define who I am? And I get to define, even if I'm defining my own, even if I'm coming up with those self-limiting beliefs,
Yeah.
I'm the one who's going to take them away. And EFT has just helped me so much in the kind of affirmations that we've done in the session. You've really helped me, Manchal, at the end of the session where you've asked me to come up with my own affirmations. And I don't know if you remember, but I think the first two sessions or first three sessions, even, I would say, I had a tough time even like coming up with affirmations of my own or even saying it with any amount of confidence or, you know, actual faith or belief in myself. Because I guess I was leading up to that. I was working on my personal journey, and it from the first session we had to the last session, I think there was a huge transformation in the way I talked about myself, even, and the faith that I
Yeah.
had in myself. Um, I'm sure you would be able to, like, you are a testament to that, like, because you were there, you saw that like kind of change in me from the first to the last session. I couldn't even like say it out loud that I love myself or that I'm worthy. Like it felt very hollow. I think the first session it just felt like, yeah, I'm just saying something. It doesn't even
Yeah.
ring true. But there are so many limiting beliefs that you can overcome just by, tapping at different points of your body, really being intentional when you say it. You're not just saying something. You're here, you're open-minded about it, you're here for a reason, you're here to get better. Um, so do it, believe in it. And that's what I would say. Like the EFT practice makes so much sense because you're talking to yourself, and you're telling yourself the things that you should have told your younger self, what other people should have told you, perhaps. But it's about
Exactly.
no longer seeking validation, but validating yourself. It's not, you're not looking for external validation anymore. You're creating your own validation. You're your own hero in your life. You don't have to, like I said, don't have to wait for someone to save you. You will save yourself, and you will erase those limiting beliefs. And EFT has really like helped me see that. And I truly believe it now. I see it in the things that have happened. My life has radically changed. In like from before I started EFT, from when I was doing EFT, during the time that I was doing EFT, and after the 6 sessions were over. I have seen the changes happen. I've had things happen to me that I never thought would happen. I've had signs, um, you know, of wonderful things happening to me. And it's just been all these signs and synchronicities. And I've messaged like Manchal after each of these things have happened, said, you won't believe this, but this actually
I
happened, or this
remember.
worked out, or,
Hmm.
and so yeah, it's really helpful. And I would highly recommend EFT to anybody who's going through any difficult time in their life. And it doesn't even have to be trauma based. It absolutely doesn't. If there's anything that you want to change, and it doesn't even have to be, let's say you don't have self-limiting beliefs, you don't have trauma, but you want to make some positive change in your life, EFT is for you.
Yeah, thank you. In fact, I remember the self-talk drastically changed. I mean, I remember the first three sessions, like you said, very clearly. You would not be able to say those words. You wouldn't be able to validate yourself, and you were doubting your self-worth. And I saw the confidence really change, and I saw how you started reframing yourself. And I remember sending you a few messages as well. Like, I love that positive reframe. How you changed the way you used to see this, and now you're seeing it like that, which was a massive shift, right, from when we started in the beginning. And also how, yeah, I remember those messages, like, we're not going to talk about it in a public platform, but all those some miracles that happened.
Yeah.
And I remember receiving that, and I'm telling you how happy I am to hear your voice sounding like that, with that miracle and that manifestation technique that worked. And that
Mm-hmm.
was only because you were able to open yourself up as a clear channel, because you were releasing that self-doubt and all that negativity, and then you were replacing that with faith and those powerful high vibratory emotions. And I saw how you were really just I saw a lot of change in your self-talk. That was beautiful to
Yeah.
witness,
Yeah.
really. And also the affirmations, where in the beginning you would say them in the future, if you remember, be like, yeah, one day I will be. And I was like, no, subconscious brain does not understand future, so you
Mm-hmm.
have to make it present. And you're like, oh, but that's not true. And then we slowly bridged that gap in the session. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that was really powerful. And yeah, so I was going to ask you about the self-talk and limiting belief, but you already talked about how powerfully that changed. And I see
Mm-hmm.
you being so comfortable in your own skin, being in your power, and having that empowered sense of self, and not doubting yourself, and being able to appreciate yourself, taking compliments, and all of that, which has changed, which is so beautiful. And I know that's how we also, when we feel that way about ourselves, we're also signaling the world to treat us
Mm-hmm.
in that way, right? So yeah, it's just all of that, what you said, how I also saw that how you were able to shift your state in terms of setting healthier boundaries. And
Mm-hmm.
that, do you want to share anything? How has that had a lasting impact in your life, in terms of stopping that people pleasing or seeking external validation, or setting those boundaries for yourself now with people in your relationships? How has that changed as a lasting result?
Um, that's a really, really good question, because this was also a really big deal for me. I never knew how to say no to people, mostly because I did not want to disappoint people that I cared about, or I didn't want to be in a state of conflict. And every time I was in a state of conflict, it affected me more than it should. Um, and it made me overcompensate, even if when it wasn't my fault, especially actually when it wasn't my fault, because I just wanted to be over and done with the conflict. And that's a terrible way to live, because it has kind of lasting consequences on your body. But the great thing about that is that through AFT, I figured out that it doesn't have to be lasting, as in like forever. It can have consequences, yes, but those can be reversed. You can learn how to set good boundaries with people. You can start to feel better within your body every time you say no to someone, because I would feel a tightness in my chest when I had to say no to someone, or feel like I was disappointing somebody else, because I would see them feeling disappointed. And it's really difficult when you start placing boundaries, to see the reactions of the people around you, right? Like your friends and family, they don't always take to it very kindly, because they know you as someone who yields a lot. And then to
Absolutely.
suddenly see resistance on your part, it they don't really take to it too well. They don't understand that it's not about them, that it's about you
Yeah.
placing those boundaries for yourself. And sometimes that can be misconstrued because they're not viewing it through the right lens. But um, you know, through EFT, I've been able to like figure out how to set those boundaries. One of the exercises that you taught me, Manchal, was that we did a 60-day exercise where
Mhm.
you asked me to talk. I was going through a lot of stuff, and part of it was also boundary setting.
Yeah.
But one of the things that we talked about is talk about your current circumstances right now, and everything, include the good, the bad, everything, and then write the polar, I mean, most of the bad stuff actually, and then write the opposite of what that would be. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think I lost you for a couple of seconds there. So you were saying something about setting boundaries and the subconscious reprogramming activity.
Yeah, so the subconscious reprogramming activity that you gave me was that I talk about all the negative circumstances in my life, just put that on a piece of paper, and then write the opposite of that and what my life would look like if it was the complete opposite of that. And I basically did the positive sort of subconscious programming. Is that what you called it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wrote a positive subconscious programming like list of things, which included boundary setting as well. Because I did have a codependent relationship with someone in my life, and
Yeah.
that was something that I was trying to break. And the good thing is that I had awareness, and I had awareness because we'd done the EFT sessions. So it came up in one of the sessions. And so the good thing is this exercise really helped me kind of just reprogram my brain over and over again, because it was an exercise that I had to do for 60 days. And I surprised myself as someone who can sometimes be inconsistent. I actually did it for 60 days every single day without missing it, which is huge for me, if
I
I may say
remember.
so myself. And I also, along with that, decided to listen to this particular song called Shine by the band Take That, which a friend of mine had sent me a decade ago, and I rediscovered the song, and it's a beautiful song. And so every morning I would listen to that song first thing when I woke up, and then I would do I would write the positive, like um uh, those reprogramming like bits that I was supposed to
Yeah.
do for 60 days. And it made a huge, I finished a whole book because I was doing it every day, and it was a rather long list. It made a huge difference to my life. Along with that, I also used to listen to the Hawaiian song of forgiveness. I'm not going to say the name because I always butcher it. I'll have Manchal say
Ho'oponopono.
it. Yes, yes, that.
Ho'oponopono.
Yeah, so it's got a lot of O's, so
Yeah.
I don't know where the O's go sometimes. So like I tend to like butcher it, so I don't want to say it, but Manchala said it for you. And yeah, so that along with the activity and the song, I would listen to the Hawaiian forgiveness song every morning, and
Yeah.
I would listen to it just as I was falling asleep every night, and it would play in the background. And I'd fall asleep to it. And that made a huge difference because it helped me kind of also forgive myself. I was being very hard on myself
Yeah.
because there was a lot of stuff that had happened where I was like, oh, I should have done this differently. I could have done that. There's a lot of shoulda, coulda, woulda, like questions and like interrogation that I was pointing towards myself. And it was really unhealthy. And that song helped me forgive myself and also other people, which helped me kind of release them in love. um and that's something that I really wanted to do. I didn't want to hold on to all this anger. I didn't want to hold on to all this hurt. I didn't want to hold on to the past. So
Yeah.
I was like, I'll let me let them go in love, and it really helped me do that. It helped me kind of see myself differently. And one of the things that I didn't do for the longest time, but I have started doing it now. That Manchal recommended that I do, that you recommended for me, was that you said that I should record affirmations in my own voice, and there's something
Yes.
about listening to that in my own voice first thing in the morning
Yeah.
is going to help me, see things differently, or help me visualize the kind of future that I want, right? Or not even the future, the kind of person that I have chosen to become,
Hmm.
or the kind of person that I am. Or because like you said, your brain doesn't know the difference between like it doesn't know the difference between the past and the future. Is that what you said? Or am I
Yeah,
getting it
what is
wrong?
imaginary and what is real. And also, it doesn't understand the words don't, negative, and it doesn't understand future, timeline, and past. So it only knows the present.
Right.
So,
So I am resilient, for example.
yeah.
I am worthy, I am confident. So those kind of affirmations really, I didn't do it at the time because I was feeling overwhelmed by all the
I
other
know.
things that I was doing, and those things were really working for me. But I didn't do it at the time, but I can say that it's left a lasting impression on me because I have done it now that, I'm not doing this, the subconscious programming activity. But since I finished that activity, I've been doing the recorded affirmations. I sometimes talk to myself in the mirror. That's also a thing that like you've told me about that has
Yeah.
been really helpful. Um, and yeah, that's been really positive for me. And yeah, I don't know. I hope that answers like your question.
It
I feel
does.
like I
So you feel like, do you feel like that's also changed your external reality in some ways? All this work that you did on yourself and reprogramming your brain with these positive shifts? Do you feel
absolutely.
it shifts externally? Because everybody who's going through problems always has a reason to blame another person. I'm not happy because of
Mm-hmm.
this person's making my life difficult, or this
Yeah.
relationship is difficult. So do you feel like it externally changed anything for you?
Oh, absolutely. I think setting those boundaries was absolutely super essential to my life, because I was living this like negative pattern of saying yes to everybody and everything, that it wore me out completely. And initially, while it was tough to say no because it made me feel uncomfortable and it made the other person feel uncomfortable to hear the words no from me, it started making me feel more in control of my life. It also
Mhm.
made me realize that I have the power to say no, right? The power lies within me.
Yes.
That I shouldn't expect the other person to not ask me to do certain things. That people
Yes.
will ask you to jump off a cliff. Are you going to do it
Yeah.
just to make them happy? No, I mean, you would,
Yeah.
but then you probably shouldn't, if you want to live and
Yeah.
all. So, yeah, it's important. It's that story that like you hear about I was kind of that frog that like lays in a pot of boiling water, and like I it's getting hotter and hotter and hotter and more uncomfortable, and you don't realize it until you're getting like burnt alive, so, or like boiled alive. So I just had to I always waited for things to get really uncomfortable, and I
Mm.
would give people a very long rope before I, kind of stood up for myself and took action. But now, instead of having to be so uncomfortable and being resentful as a result of that, and all of the negative
Yeah.
emotions that come with that,
Yeah.
now I'm able to kind of say no in the beginning. And if people don't understand why I'm saying no, I try and explain to them the best that I can. But if they still don't understand, that's really their problem. It's a them problem, not a me problem anymore. So that's what I like to tell myself. So I can say, like, if they're having trouble understanding why I'm saying no, maybe they need to reflect and figure out why it bothers them to have someone say no to them. That's really something that they need to figure out, and that's on them. So
I
yeah,
love
I've
that.
seen it. Yeah.
I know it was a
So
long journey for you, even for me. I come from the same background. It's just when you stand in your own power, nobody else is standing there expecting that, and suddenly they're like, what? I mean, she's not going to do this, or she's not going to say yes to this or accept what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying. And then as you do it more and more, and just to clarify to the audience, it's not about being selfish, it's not about being arrogant at all. It just comes from a space of knowing intuitively what you need and what you're guided by, with what your own body's wisdom is telling you, and what you need to do to honor your mental, emotional, and physical well-being. It's not about disappointing. It's not like here we're propagating that you just keep disappointing people and ruin relationships. But this is just about understanding, and not, and like you rightly said, it was about protecting your energy. Otherwise you were feeling drained out, and now you'll have more energy to give to the others more happily, because you're doing it from a space of really wanting to, rather than being forced
Mm-hmm.
to. You don't feel like it's
Mm-hmm.
being, you're made to do it. You're doing it because it's out of choice. So I love
Mm-hmm.
what you shared about that, and how you're able to be in your power and protect your energy, and say yes to the things that feel aligned, basically.
Yeah, and the surprising thing is, while people get upset with you initially, you can also see that they're sometimes even pleasantly surprised that you stood up for yourself, because they're so used to getting what they want from you, or whatever they ask of you, that it's almost like they have, like, oh, I kind of respect that you said no to me, you know? Um,
Yes.
so
Yeah.
you can kind of see it in their face, and they appreciate you, I think, over time, some people more than others, for being honest and for being
Yeah.
yourself. Because that means you have a more authentic relationship with yourself, and also a more
Absolutely.
authentic relationship with them. And for people who care about that kind of authenticity, it will matter. For those who don't, well, too bad. At least you're being authentic to yourself. So,
That's what matters. Yeah. And over time, like you said, they do see it, and then you're only with the people that are aligned with your energy
mhm,
in the universe. And I know we did like a lot of healing techniques. We did so much profound. I mean, I saw the profound downloads you received in the inner child, ancestral healing. We did a lot of breath work, movement.
mhm,
We did the higher self visualization. We did all of that. Do you think there was any like significant breakthrough for you in any of those techniques, or
mhm.
any like powerful transformative shift from any of that?
Sure. There are about three particular things that like come to the top of my head right now that had like lasting changes. One was when we did our inner child like healing session. It was incredibly powerful. I think it was my second session with you. And I was able to visualize younger versions of me, and I was able to apologize to younger versions of me for, letting them down in a sense, but also forgive myself, my current self, for whatever happened in the past. I was able to, that was really, that made a huge difference, that visualization with you. I could visualize the different me at different stages in my life, at different
I
ages in
remember.
my life.
Mm,
And it was extremely powerful, and it was extremely healing. And since then, I've begun to indulge my inner child
I know.
a lot more. My current indulgence of my inner child is stickers. I don't care what anybody thinks of a grown woman liking stickers, but like I really like stickers, and like I art journal now. I do a bunch of like stuff where I just kind of like do what makes me happy, do what my inner child, like do what would make my inner child happy, right? Like I'm kind of rediscovering those parts of myself and healing those parts of myself even now, like close to after a year of since we've done our session, right? Yeah. And it's been like, yeah, it's been over a year since we did that session, and I found that really healing. Another really healing thing was you asked me to write down I think it was 20 or 25 wins.
Yeah.
And that was mostly that made a huge impact on my life. And part of what I used to do during our EFT sessions anyway was to journal a lot. I was journaling anyway before we started doing the EFT sessions, but I started doing it with more purpose, and like I feel like I had specific prompts from you that I would like, or questions that I would like ask myself, kind of dig deeper into. And one of the activities was to work on the wins, where you
Yeah.
asked me to talk about like 20 to 25 things that um or even like I mean, I can't remember the exact number right now. I have to go back to my journal and look at it, but I think I believe it was at least 2025 parts of my life where I had done something to make myself proud. It was not for somebody else. It was not um, something that, it was completely what I'd done for myself, and something that I could say, um, I'm really proud of. And it actually, like, it wasn't as hard as I thought it would be, because I didn't, at the time, I was like, oh, I don't know what I could write. And then it just came
I
to me, and I was
remember
able to, yeah,
you
and I was
weren't
able
able to
to,
start, but then once you
yeah,
started, you were like, this is so empowering. This is so liberating. It's opened up
yeah,
things within me. I have to give
yeah,
myself more credit.
it did. And then it made a huge difference. And it's there now that I've written it down. Every time I feel like I'm having like a rough day, or if I'm feeling a little bit low, all I have to do, because I've recorded it now in a personal like journal, I just have to go back to that
Yeah.
page and like look at it and remind myself, hey, you did all these amazing things. And that's
Yeah.
just proof of what you have done and what you can do. And these are all things that you can continue doing for yourself. So it's a great, great reminder. I It's something that I really enjoy doing, and it's something that I think I'll continue to do. Not at every I think every few years in my life I would like to do this, because I think I'll have different stuff to add in that
I mean, even
journey.
since our last session in November to now in a few months, I know you have more stuff to add in your wins. So
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. It's been amazing. The last few months um have been really amazing, and I'm so happy. I feel really, really free finally. And yeah, so that's been really great. And the third thing that I had another thing which I don't know why it escapes me now. But there was a third thing that just a second. I think I'd noted this down. Let me just go back and look at it.
that's okay. Just whatever feels right, whatever is your truth in this moment. In fact, I actually wanted to ask you, like, what would you tell anyone who is hesitant or on the fence about trying EFT as opposed to any other healing modality that is well known? And since it's an
Mm-hmm.
alternative healing modality as well, even though it's evidence based and there's so much research that's happened and clinical trials taking place and so many people using it, but there are a lot of people who are still skeptic, thinking it's woo woo because just like looks so strange and weird. We're like tapping with our fingertips, and how's that going to change my life? How is it going to heal my traumas? Like, oh, what would you tell someone who is skeptical or on the fence and doesn't know if EFT is for them?
I would tell them to start by, I don't know, just taking a leap of faith. I don't think I can convince anybody. I can only tell them about what my journey has been like, how transformational it's been for me. But even my journey started from just taking a leap of faith,
Yes.
and from telling myself that, you know what, I'm going to try whatever. If it doesn't work out, what do I have to lose? I don't have
Yeah.
anything to lose. And I'm not going to try it like, being a skeptic, because then you're not really doing it with any amount of faith in yourself or in the process. Um,
Yeah.
so for me, I was just like, let me do like a few sessions, a couple sessions, see where I'm at, see how I'm feeling. And if I am feeling a little bit better, then I'm gonna like, dive head first, and then, like just go all in. So yeah, I would say like have faith in yourself, take a leap of faith. It's absolutely life changing if you go in with the right sort of like lens. If you go in wanting to change your life, you should. I am a firm believer that people, myself included, if you don't want to do something, you won't do it. And if you really want to do something, you'll make it happen, So
Yeah.
when it came to EFT, I really took a leap of faith. And I really was in that place in my life where I wanted to make a change, and not in a way that most people say, yeah, I want to change my life. I really wanted to do it. And I was um, open to trying anything. And also, it is a science-based, science-backed, technique. And I can see that because it's goes so much more beyond talk therapy. There are actual exercises that you get to do. You're trying to figure yourself out. You're trying to heal your past traumas if you have any. If you're lucky to not have any, it's still really helpful, because whatever you're looking to change in your life, it helps you figure out why you need to make that change, why you feel you need to make that change, even when you started believing like certain self-limiting beliefs, or like certain limiting beliefs from other people. Sometimes they may not even be your
Yeah,
beliefs, right? Might be
absolutely.
beliefs that have been kind of like told to you by other people, or
Passed
it's
down.
passed down. Yes, passed down, that's what I was looking for, the passed down to you from like family members or like other people around you. And you hear something enough times, especially when it's something negative, you tend to believe it. But the flip side and the good thing about that is that you hear something positive enough times, you will also believe it. And
I love
EFT
that.
gives you a great channel to do that. It helps you channel your own energy. It helps you like change your life. I don't know how else to say it, but um the most important thing is that you should want to do it.
Yeah.
And when you really want to do something, the changes will last, and you'll see, I mean, more than me talking about it, you'll see it happen. You'll see the shifts in the way you think, in
Yes,
the way you interact with other people. You
absolutely.
will, I think it helps you also forgive yourself. It helps you forgive other people that you've been really mad at and for a very long time in your mind, and that you haven't been able to forgive. It helps you
Yeah.
let go of a lot of stuff, whether it's trauma or even if it's not trauma. Like there's a lot of stuff that you can let go, and it's like starting afresh. It's like turning a
Yes.
new page and like starting afresh. It's fantastic. I would highly recommend it to everybody. The only thing I would say is that they be ready for it,
Yeah.
that they have faith in themselves, have faith in the process, and be really open-minded to it, because you don't know how your life can change. And not just that how your life can change, but how you can change your life because you're in charge of it now. So that's really, really empowering. Um, and knowing that you can do it is it creates a different high altogether, like,
Yeah. I love
in your
that.
life. Yeah. It's just like, yes, the universe is helping you if you help yourself.
Oh, wow. I
Um,
love that. Yes. So profound.
yeah, but in order for the universe to help you, you have to take that first step. And
Yeah.
then the universe is
Co-creating.
like, yeah, exactly. And then the
Co-creation.
universe is like, yes, let's do this parallelly together. Like,
Yeah.
I'm with you and I'm by your side, and I'll help you create this new reality for yourself. But if you're not there, if you don't have the belief, then I would say it's very difficult. And if you don't kind of use the techniques that Manchal tells you about, or like don't work on those different things, then it's hard to see results otherwise. So it's like any other thing that you do in life. You work at it, you're going to see results. So
So
yeah,
true. So
that's
beautifully articulated. I love that whole turning over a new leaf because I always call it a rebirth. I feel like EFT helped me rebirth, or like be reborn rather, and
yeah,
become a new person and leave all of those people pleasing tendencies,
yeah,
seeking external validation, being disappointed in myself, being disappointed in life, and just being so gracefully accepting and forgiving. It's such a release, such a beautiful um, liberating feeling. So thank you for taking that leap of faith in me, going on this journey with me, placing your faith in the process and trusting the process more than anything else. So thank you for that. And if there's any like parting message, is there any tools, tips, or techniques that you can share with the audience, what they can do to help themselves to, or what, like there's times that we've discussed that, when you feel like you're regressing back on your healing journey, or you feel like, oh, I'm not really healing and changing. I thought I was over this, but I'm not, or
Mm-hmm.
things are coming back. Do you have any kind of parting advice for them, any message for them? When do they know they're ready to seek professional help? Because you and I talk about it so openly, because we know that there's no shame in seeking help. I actually feel proud that I had the courage and you had the courage to seek
Mm-hmm.
out professional help to help yourself, like you said. Otherwise, you're blocking your own future from what
Yeah.
can be possible for you. So, any parting message, any tools, any tips, any techniques, especially if they're stuck in their mindset, they can't progress, or they're feeling they're held back?
Mm-hmm.
Anything that you want to share?
Yes, I actually remember that third technique or the third thing that
Okay.
helped while you were saying technique. I was like, oh, I remember what I wanted to say. So the thing that really helped me, that you helped me with, and it works so beautifully for me. I'm not going to talk about the details of it because it's very personal, but it's called the whisper manifestation technique. Did I get that right?
Yeah, that's not
Um,
mine. I borrowed it from somewhere that I learned it from another coach. But yes, that's something
No,
that
but like
we
for
worked on.
me, it came from you. So,
Yeah,
because I did the session with you, so
yeah,
I just refer to it as that. But one of the, yeah, so the thing that you taught me, with the whisper manifestation technique, it came true,
I know.
and it was insane how much faith I had to force myself to have. And it seemed, even when I was thinking about it, I was like, there's no way this is going to work. But I had to, I mean, initially when we were talking about how it works and how it can be really useful, there was a part of my brain, that negative part of my brain is like,
I
yeah, that's
remember
not going to happen,
because it was
you
an
know?
impossible thing to manifest. There was no way that was
Yeah,
going to happen.
right. And it's crazy how if you how a little faith can take you such a long way. Um, and that's all you need, just faith in the fact that things will work out for you, faith that the universe really has your back because you have your own back. And the universe is kind of like your best friend in that sense, that like if you love yourself, you'll always find that there are people around you who back you up and say, yeah, yeah, go ahead, you're doing really well, because they can see how much effort you're putting into yourself. And so I
So
feel
true.
like the universe is kind of like your best friend like that. That's like egging you on, nudging you kindly, you know, like poking you every once in a while, saying, hey, don't you want to like work on that thing you said you'd work on? Hey, don't you want to like make progress there? And so that technique that I did with you helped more than like, I mean, it changed my life. It changed the trajectory of things, so to speak. And I am really grateful that you told me about it and that we did it and it actually worked for me. So that's something that I would highly recommend for someone if someone's doing EFT with you or a session with you or a couple of sessions with you, that they work on this with you. And yeah, I would just say that don't feel ashamed for asking for help. We're always so quick to like talk about like, going to the doctor for like knee pain or like, a stomach
So
ache
true.
or any other thing. Like your mental health is just as important as your
So
physical
true.
health. So it's okay. Sometimes when you feel down, sometimes when you're feeling not great, it's okay to go and ask for help. It's okay to ask for help at home. It's okay to ask for help outside of home. It's okay to seek talk therapy. It's okay to go further and do EFT. You don't even have to do talk therapy and EFT the way I did it. It just so happened that that's the journey that I took. But
Yeah.
if you're not okay with talk therapy and you believe in the universe and you believe that good things can happen for you and you believe that you're ready to kind of take that bigger step, do EFT, try it. It's going to change your life. And really, you need to be at that headspace where you know that you want to try for yourself. And you're not doing it for anybody else. It's your life. You have one life.
So true.
And you can always, like you said, like you can always, you know, come back feeling like reborn. So you can write, you can write your story. You get to write your story. You get to be the narrator in your story, even
Yeah,
if it means you're starting today, even if it
yes,
means you're 60, 80, like 90, or you're 20 or
so
15,
true.
whatever. It's okay. It doesn't matter what happened in your past. It
So true.
happened. You can get on that journey. You can learn to forgive yourself. Forget forgiving others. That will happen along the way. But I think the most important thing is to be able to like forgive yourself. And I think that's very doable. And there are so many techniques that you have taught me, Manchal, that have been extremely helpful that I can go back and look at even now, because a lot of those were like action based or like prompts that I had to like write about, that kind of helped me like, go back to and see, okay, what can I do? If I'm having a particularly like low day, then I can go back and look at that and I can say, okay, maybe I can do these things and see how I feel. And I can always drop you a message and say, like, hey, this is how I'm feeling. Can you tell me like a couple of things that you think might like help me? And you've been really, really present during our sessions. And even in between our sessions with me, where you've been very patient, you've been very present, you've given me ideas on how to kind of continue my healing journey. And I have really felt very like I felt like you created an incredibly safe space for me. And yeah, I don't have I I have only good things to say. And um it's just been incredible how I even met you, right?
Yeah.
In fact, I met you only this year after we finished all our EFT sessions.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, and and so it's insane how you don't even have to meet a person in person for them to have a huge impact on your life. Um, and I'm really grateful that, our worlds collided, and
Absolutely.
we were able to, I don't know, just um, change my life.
Thank
I
you.
would say.
You did a lot of that work. It was all your
I
commitment to
did,
your
I
growth.
did, but it also was under your guidance, so I really appreciate it. And yeah, I would say just believe in yourself. Believe that, I read this quote somewhere the other day. I think it was by another artist. It said, "Dare to believe that good things will happen."
Yeah. I love that.
Like, can you tell yourself that, like, dare to believe? Can you dare yourself to believe that good things will happen?
Absolutely. I love
Yeah.
that. Great affirmation to take away. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you
Yeah.
for being here today. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
trusting the process. Thank you for honoring this invitation to do this interview and inspiring people. Anyone who and everyone who's listening right now, I hope her story really inspires you. She really stands here in front of me as this woman full of strength and resilience, and I'm so inspired by her growth and her transformation and all that commitment that she's put in, all the work she's put in. She's continuing to do her inner work as she changes and shifts things in her reality and creates, like she said, with the universe, and brings in all that she desires by releasing everything that doesn't serve her. So, if you're watching, I hope this journey inspires you. And I also I have absolutely nothing against talk therapy. I say if that works for you, just do anything and everything that your body has that wisdom. You'll be intuitively guided. So just do what your body needs. Listen to what you need. There's no shame in seeking professional help. I've done it. Phalguni has done it. And we're all sitting here in front of you as a testimony to what healing can do to you, how much transformation it can bring, not only in yourself, and like she said, even your life, everything can change around you. So please do that for yourself. If it's talk therapy that works for you, go ahead and do that. If it's EFT, you can always reach out to me on Instagram. I'll leave my information in the description box, and I hope that her story serves is an inspiration to you to know that you can rewrite your story, as she says, which I really love, and shift your identity to become a better or the best version of yourself, right? So, just to everyone who's watching, I wish you abundant blessings of health, wealth, laughter and joy and a lot of peace, and just keep smiling. And I'm just going to end this and wrap it up now. And if you want to reach out to Phalguni, her Instagram handle is Gunito Studio. Did I say it right?
Yeah.
I love that artwork that you do. So she's an amazing
Thank you.
artist. If you want to work with her or if you want to reach out to her for her artwork, so it's Gunito Studio. I'll leave that in the description box in the handle as well. So thank you so much, Phalguni, for being here. And thank you everybody for watching and staying tuned till here. And I hope that her journey inspires you to take the first step towards transforming and healing your life. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. And to everybody out there, quick word that Manchal has a lot of great videos on her YouTube channel and on her Instagram. I recently did one with the morning routine, like what you can do to start your morning off on a great note. I would highly recommend that video. There are 5 or 6 things that she talks about that are incredible, that made me feel amazing when I did it.
You shared that
So
message with me, I remember.
yes, I did. So please go ahead and watch that. And thank you so much for having me over today. And I feel really, really honored. And I'm so glad that I was able to go on this journey with you. Thanks
Me too,
again.
very grateful. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. And see you in the next video.